its life in our current seas at the moment, and you have it with that distinct hook, right, a distinct shape, and so that's the fundamentals of life. The earliest building blocks of life. That is a fertilized egg, and that is an orb, with the cell walls and breakdown. We've seen the division in the orb as well, so split in, that they become two, they divide, they throw out these webs. So, you've just seen the cell division. Notice that distinct. That is Northumberland rock art, that's a fiberglass cast of it. The original's been covered over because it was being worn away by weathering. You can probably find that on the internet anyway. So you've got your strand out, you've got your dots in it, you've got the strands from the orbs and the holes in them. To be honest, the ancients knew this. We lost this. And then what happened when we lost this? Well, we seemed to murder everything, and the Roman Empire came and killed everything. And, we became, I think we became different. I think we spiritually different. And everyone talks of a new age dawning, 2012. Well, we can all see it, that something's changing. I don't know whether people can feel it. There's the twisted pair DNA. I could talk about my near-death experience, and my daughter took that by accident, with a disposable camera in my head. But that's not about the talk. Do you know what I mean? So what we have is rock art, and we have DNA, and we have that. And on the moment, how can the ancients, did they have electron microscopes? And no, they didn't. What does that mean? I don't know. I think that some of the creation myths are probably more likely to be true than wrong, as I currently stand at the moment. But these are the ancient creation myths, not the modern ones. But certainly the Big Bang would strike any chords with me. This isn't supposed to be here. I didn't have a chance to. So I'll ignore. So ancient religions in the spirit world, because obviously you have to hear about the ghosts. I'll leave you read that because I can have the drink to do it. So we got Kachina, so the Hopi. I think the Hopi pronounce it as a Kachina, as a life bringer, interreactive with nature. And you've seen that photograph, attached to trees. So you've got your Kachina attached to a tree. Another one attached to a branch. This is before the sap rises. I often thought early on in probably 2004 that it was responsible for a signal along with heat and light to draw sap up the tree. There's one of the webs attached to a shrub. So we live in a sea of life, in fact, to be honest, a sea of energy. There's the Hopi mythology. They believe that their ancient ancestors came down to play with the marvels. Now, many people believe that solely that the orb is a spirit. And isn't it strange that this is Hopi mythology now from thousands of years ago, and they talk of their ancestors playing with I've got some of the concretions over there, played with these marvels, and yet we still believe that, we believe a similar thing. Some people believe that this orb is solely the soul energy. But it's far greater than that. It is that and more. It is so big that sometimes it will blow your mind apart. So those are some of the stones that I was predicted, falling from the sky. They call them thunderbolts. In the 18th century, they were known to fall from the sky. That was the current thinking, and we dismissed it. We ignored it, and we dismissed their own beliefs, because we think that everything was created out of a Big Bang. They can't have those forming in the upper atmosphere if we've got a Big Bang. So they're ignored. Interesting, wow. But they're called thunderbolts by the Hopi, and they're formed in thunderstorms and lightning storms. That's a geological sample that I cut down. You know, as I say, it's a process of heat and pressure. It's not a concretion. Aboriginal myth believed that, I'll even read that as well, so give me a chance to. So what it is this tube or whatever, rainbow serpent, these are colours of the rainbow that we've got on. Not much like a serpent, I must admit, it's a straight bar. They do wobble over a magnetic field. Here's another one firing up the top of the stones in, this is in...
Rollright.
Rollright, thank you, Joe. Yeah. This is in Rollright Stones, this is in England. You know, I don't like crossing the bridge too much. It's the toll fee afterwards that does me more than anything else. That's in Pontypridd Stone Circle. That's in Pontypridd Stone Circle. So what I've got here is, I've got 400 video clips, but to run them all, it takes up a lot of memory and whatever. So I've shown one with the dog, and I'll show you another one. This is one clip now, but it's been slowed by half, so it actually looks like 4 clips, but I've slowed it down because otherwise you won't see it. So what I've slowed it down to half, and then the next clip's half again and half again. So you can just get an idea. Now they talk about the serpent under the ground firing up the ground. And we have recorded probably 100 of these firing up the ground. This is about 30 seconds of normal speed here. And actually you can see colours in it, rings and rings around the other side. So Shinto and Kami religions believe that there's life force in everything. And that is my view. There is life force in everything. Every single thing is touched by creation. And it is magnificent. You know, we are divine. And it may sound strange to you, but we're all divine beings. We're all divine. We all have God within us. We all have the creation within us. We are magnificent. And it's only when we reconnect with ourselves truly, and we love ourselves truly. You know, Christ the Holy Man taught to love thyself, you know. And I think that, and Christ talks about, and this isn't a Christian thing, because I'm not a Christian. Christ talks about the kingdom of God being within you. Well, the creation's inside us. It's in planets, it's out in the universe, and it's inside us as well. But does that mean it's what convention thinks it is? Well, no, it doesn't. It's certainly not what any of the religions are about in any shape or form. I'm not here to knock any particular religious belief. There's some well-meaning religious people who go out and care for the elderly and care for the old, and they show compassion to their friends and colleagues. But it isn't about that. I'm not saying on an individual basis. So the Buddha, this is what. He talks of the spheres of consciousness, he talks of the spheres of perception. So even in Buddhism, he talks of these spheres of consciousness. The Kachinas talk about the life bringer. And so what we have is this 96% of energy that is creation itself. And it's magnificent. You know, to me, what this thing is magnificent. So, I'll leave you with some final thoughts. Are all of you into ghosts and stuff like that? This is at a spiritualist church. John's doing some healing. He's a healer. Behind here. And on the door behind me is the medium's restroom. And you may not recognize what that is. And I'm not going to zoom into it and show you or whatever, but there's something on there that's particularly unusual. We have numbers of races in these spheres. And we have numbers of things in the spheres. So it holds consciousness itself. Let's just say that, you know, because I'm more interested in the science, and yet